Today we're going to be working on a 15th century pouch. This one I call a scallop pouch because the scallop shape on the flap. It's found in several stained glass pieces of the period. The first step you're going to do is print out your pieces off the website. There's only the 3 pieces and the strap. You're going to be actually cutting out 2 of these, 1 of these, and 1 of these, and 1 long strap. Next, make sure you have all of your tools together. You're going to need a pair of scissors, something to punch holes with for the strap, a set of needles. These are actually upholstery needles purchased at Walmart for less than $1. You're going to need some black linen thread or any color you like. You're not really going to see it. Something to mark your stitches if you want to mark the stitches. This is just a pattern marker, also available at Walmart. You're going to need an awl of some sort. You can go use a straight awl. I prefer to use a curved awl. Found it works a lot better and is easier on the fingers. You may need a pair of needle nose pliers to help pull the needle through occasionally. Sometimes it gets stuck. And one thing I found is absolutely indispensable are binder clips, also available at Walmart. The first step, once you've actually cut out your pattern, is transfer your pattern to your leather. This leather is just a garment grade leather, probably 2 to 3 ounces at the most. So it's not terribly thick, not too thin though. Once you have the pieces cut out, you're going to mark your holes for your belt loops. They're actually marked here on the pattern. The holes here are actually the outside edges of your belt loops. So when you stitch them on, they're going to look like this. Once you have those stitched on, then we're going to move on to attaching the main body to the back here. You're actually going to put it on inside out. So you want the smooth side touching the smooth side. Easy way to line it up is just look at the corners here, see where it lines up with those straps. Now here's where the binder clips come in handy. You're going to actually just work your way around the pouch with the binder clips. It's going to help you stitch, keep things all nice and even. I like to put about every 2 to 3 inches at the most. That's what I like to do, is stitch up to a clip, then remove the clip and keep stitching. So you can take those clips all the way around. Okay. So now that they're on, we're ready to start stitching. Now you're going to take your needles and measure out a length of thread. I found a great way to do it is you take your thread and you can lay it over top of your pouch like this, and you actually then take that times 2 and add a little bit. That way once you get to the end you won't actually run out. You'll have enough to keep working. Okay, now I'm going to take the awl. We're going to use the curved awl for this. I'm going to take off my first binder clip. Actually, we're just going to slide it down a little bit so we can get to this top corner here. Now, I always put my first hole just past the leather of the pieces here, so you can actually do a couple stitches to bind that in nice and tight. So let's put our first 2 holes in there. 1 past, 1 in. Then you're going to take your needle and thread. And I actually like to start on the hole that's in between here on the 2. You start through and take it up through the second hole. Now you're going to get your needles to about the half mark.
So you have 2 needles, 1 on each end.
2 needles, 1 on each end of the thread, exactly. And I like to actually do 3 or 4 loops on the end here of the first one. That way you have a nice tight start here. That's one loop, and you can just pull the ends to make it tight.
All right, hang on. I'm going to zoom in a little bit.
Sure. Let's see. That's 2 loops. I'm going to do a third one just for good measure. And once you have these loops in place here, for your first loops, your needles should be on opposite sides of your leather. So you have one string coming out each side like that. Now I'm going to take off my first clip. It's going to be in the way. And I like to put my holes approximately less than, just under a 1/4 inch here apart.
If you wanted to, you could just use a stitch marker, right?
Yeah, you can actually go ahead and mark them here. And you want to keep it about 1/8 of an inch off of the edge. The mark's a little hard to see because it is the suede side of the leather. You can even go and take a pen and mark where you want to stitch. That's another way to do it. But I like to put holes about 1/8 of an inch in, almost a 1/4 inch apart. If you go too far apart, once you turn it right side out, you're going to have gapping and it's going to give you problems. Once you get towards the corners as well, it's a good idea to actually make your stitches closer together. That way you'll have less gapping on the corners as well when you turn those right side out. I like to put my first, say, 3 or 4 holes in place. Then you can take your needles. And I like to work with one needle first and run that needle in and then through the next hole and pull that loop, pull that fairly tight. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my 3rd and 4th hole here with the same needle. That gives us a single stitch. Now we're going to take the second needle on the other side and we're going to go back through the same holes to double up the stitching. This makes a really, really strong stitch. And also it gives you a really nice look because all your stitches are nice and even and smooth here. So let's go ahead and do a couple more of these. You don't want to pull too hard on wax linen thread because it can snap on you. If it snaps, you can always just go back a couple stitches, tie a new piece on with a square knot, and keep going. It's a great way to, correct your mistakes. So that's our first set of stitchings here. And on the inside, it's going to give you a nice smooth stitch here. I'm just going to do a couple of slips so you can see the inside of the stitch. And give you a real nice smooth. And see, if I did it any further apart, you'd have a little bit of gapping here.
That looks nice.
So that's what your outside stitch is going to look like once you're done here.
Now, do we use the same stitching for the belt loops?
The belt loops are very simple, and that is done with the exact same stitching. If you'll see here, I actually did a single hole on the outside of each loop here. Those are the holes that are marked in the pattern. Then I did 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches across. And I did this about 3 times on each end here for a nice strength. That loop's not going anywhere. So nice and simple there. Note about the belt loops, the tapered edge is on the inside.
That's good to know.
The straight edge is on the outside. So your final look gives you a little pair of horns sticking up here in the back. So you're going to continue around this pouch here until it's all stitched up. Then you're going to turn it right side out. See the right side out.